Hello everybody, I'm Cherish.
And I'm Joy.
And we're Tisicles Musicals. And we had our first two-show day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray! I can't remember our last two-show day. Was that when we saw Harmony and How to Dance in Ohio?
Maybe, yes.
So that was last year.
Mm-hmm.
So Lily took us. No. We had no. We had another two-show day since then, right?
And Juliet and Something Like It Hot, maybe?
But that was before.
That was before?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let me pause. Let me go double check. You know what? I'm turning into a great record keeper for our shows and whatnot. And actually, that was our last two-show day. That was 2024. And it wasn't for our birthday. It wasn't for our birthday. But it was in January.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Excuse me. It was early in the year. And because before that, it was Shucked and Oliver at City Center. That was before that, but that was in 2023. So yeah, for 2025, our first two-show day was Smash and Purpose. And we actually were supposed to see Smash maybe like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And like when we were on our way there, they canceled the performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it was cast illness or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they're still in previews, so.
I think they only canceled the matinee, too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because we made it back. Smash is playing at the Imperial. We won the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
They put us in the last row. Other mezzanine, center. We were center though, so that was nice. And yeah, apart from it being a little far away, actually it's pretty good seats.
Mm-hmm.
And in mind, actually, I felt like for what's the show? We was there for last before Smash.
Water for Elephants.
Water for Elephants. I found it harder to like see, like the actors, like who were like talking. But in Smash, I found I didn't really, it didn't bother me so much. I don't know if it's the type of show. Like Water for Elephants is a bit slower, and Smash is more like fast paced and kind of more. So like maybe that was easier, but yeah, I think if I had to choose, obviously I would sit closer, but it was. Let me tell you. If you recall, we saw open rehearsal for Smash like a year ago. Literally, it was like January of like last year, and it was at Hunter. So it was it was like an open
rehearsal.
Yeah, open rehearsal, and we got So this is that.
Yeah,
this is the programs we got from that
open rehearsal.
A comedy about a musical, which is I would. Say that. And there were some. Now when we saw it, we actually liked it. Like we really liked it. Like we were like, oh, this is gonna be great. And this you gotta imagine it with a Broadway budget. It'll be swell with a Broadway budget, right? And because we were really into it, we had really good seats to that. But
Jonna Lynn was Karen.
Interesting. So she's just always gonna be a chorus girl, huh?
Yeah, this would have been her.
Aw, that's kind of sad. It kind of mirrors her. It kind of mirrors her. Her. But maybe she's busy, so maybe that's I like to think. Maybe. So there were a few cast changes, as Joy just mentioned. There was one, but also there was a plot change. So if it's based off of Smash is based off of
the TV
show Smash, which is the show about
putting on a Marilyn Monroe musical called Bombshell.
Right. So essentially it's a show within a show.
Yeah.
And it's the same for the musical as well.
It's a show within a show.
So the show that they're doing is supposed to be a comedy
about Marilyn Monroe's
life, which her life is not very funny. So kind of in a way,
they wanted to do something different.
Yeah, you're kind of like, well, you kind of batting at zero there maybe, but it ends the show ends up kind of like taking on a more darker tone thanks to like the actress playing Marilyn, who basically like loses her mind. If you recall, maybe you don't know, the Megan Hilty played Ivy, who was the star of the show, and Catherine McPhee, played Karen, who is Ivy's understudy, but due to like Ivy's like change in like behavior, Karen starts getting more like spotlight, attention, and then they're kind of like, ooh, well maybe she's our Marilyn, and the show is basically like who deserves the role, like. You know,
that's the TV show.
That's the TV show.
The TV show is more of
they're trying to like build the show.
Yeah. The TV show is more about competition between Ivy and Karen, and I would say the musical is more about circumstances and, you know, what it takes to put on a show and the people you need to do so, and what happens when.
Definitely an ensemble show.
Yeah.
The music is great. That was like the best thing about Smash to me was the music, because Mark Shaman did the music, and I mean, a lot of the songs used in the show were used for the musical, and although I did miss a few,
they tried to
which
play.
Makes sense that they wouldn't make it
all of them. Yeah, they tried to play some of them in like the
because
background.
the plot changes a bit, so it doesn't really
call for it. Yeah,
we don't need it, and it's not about Joe DiMaggio, who we see more
of in the TV show. Obviously, you can give the actor who plays Joe more attention in the TV show than you can on the stage.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, the changes to Smash were.
We were sworn to secrecy, so we watched our review of the open rehearsal, and we gave you nothing, which was kind of like I wish we kind of did a tell-all video that we could publish. Like,
in addition,
now. But there was some major plot changes, although you wouldn't know that from the other review, because we were sworn to secrecy, we weren't allowed to tell. Basically, I feel like I could tell it now because it doesn't happen in the show. So basically, in the open rehearsal, Ivy dies. She had her coach, who was basically really like manipulating her and taking advantage of her, and she was taking these drugs, and she had this much darker like past that they kind of like hung on to in that version of the show, and she ends up dying basically, which kind of obviously brings the show to like a halt, and then they have to work a way to figure out how to still put on the show, but also kind of in a way kind of honor like Ivy like in a way, because I mean they loved her before she started bugging, like you know, she was still a person, so that happened. I was like, it felt different to me while we were watching, but I guess I could still see how it maybe have been possible that she died, but I actually kind of really like that she didn't die in this version. She's alive and well.
Yeah, she takes back her control of herself, and
but the crazy coach character is still there. I think it was still the lady.
Susan, right?
Yeah. I want to say that. So, I mean, she looks so much like.
Yeah,
like the woman.
That's her. Yeah. Christine Nelson.
So yeah, she was interesting. You know, I had forgotten all about her character. I don't know how. I believe the Susan character was not in the TV show.
No, she was not.
No, she was not.
Ivy was bugging just on her own volition, because she was insecure about Karen.
Right. There was also the.
I like that they didn't put two bad bitches up against each other. You know, like now it's just more like, because Ivy and Karen were friends in this this version, and you know they worked on shows together before, and Ivy's the star, and you know Karen's always been her understudy, and it's given Haven to Sutton.
Right.
You know, And so they were friends, and then Ivy has this coach now, and then the coach is making her only answer to Marilyn, and she's getting in her head, and she's giving her pills to take, and everyone's like, ew, like, I don't like,
right.
And they just start avoiding her, and then Ivy's kind of like, oh.
The thing that was kind of like you kind of have to suspend belief for is that they allow her to get to that point without putting a stop to it. Without I mean, they try to fire her, but it doesn't work out. But
you have to do that before, not fire her, but you have to put the stop to it.
Yeah. Like they kind of I felt like they kind of let it go on a little too long. Once it started costing them money, like I was like, I don't think that would have worked out. But yeah, I could have been wrong. Also, in the TV show, a change from the TV show to the show is Ivy is having an affair, or she's in a relationship. I wouldn't call it an affair, with the director. It's just issue.
That's TV
this,
stuff. For sure. Yeah.
You
don't need this. He's gay in this version.
Yeah, he's played by Brooks Ashmanskas.
He's great.
And
Also, we should talk about they add a character, the associate director, who's like not your typical lead and lady in the show, and she also has a chance to possibly be Marilyn, which she's heavy. I wouldn't call Bella that heavy. I mean, she's not that heavy. I mean, she's clearly not then, but she's not she's not what you would necessarily call for like a leading role of Marilyn Monroe, and she gets a chance to go on after all this chaos happens with Ivy, and then Karen can't do it, and funny hijinks, ha ha ha, and so I mean it's a pretty, people call it a play with music. I wouldn't call it that at all.
Yeah, no,
the songs are there because that's the shows that is in Bombshell. Like they don't just break out in song in this musical, which I think people forget that you don't always necessarily have to sing your emotions. Like the songs are allowed to be not the characters. Like the songs literally had a purpose. Like they were singing because they were singing, not because they were expressing what they were feeling. And I think it was fine for me, But it still has too many songs to be a play with music.
Yeah, so we lose like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
We lose
we got a little bit of it.
Yeah. We lose what's the song? Like the character of Leslie Odom Jr.'s character.
But we got the song.
Yeah. Right.
We got the song, but it wasn't his character.
Yeah. And then there's the character of Scott, who, what was his name in the show? His name was like...
I can't remember.
Ellis? Yeah, like the Ellis character. But it also, Scott plays, like, the Ellis character's, like, role, but, like, I feel like, personality-wise, he's a bit different. Like, character-wise, he's a bit different. And then we have, the producer woman who was played by Angelica Huston, and she was the character that she in the musical is a lot more comedic, and she's a lot less scary. That's the only thing I kind of wish she had. Like I feel like they tried to give the creatives like their own songs, but I'm not sure. Like Krista and her husband, the writers of the show, like they have like they have like their performance moments, I feel like, and then Brooks has a few, I feel, and even the Scott gets a moment, but I don't recall if the producer lady gets one.
No,
Anita,
I don't think so.
I think she has that.
No, but they make it clear that she used to be a performer. And she made it into producing and stuff like that. And
I wish she kind of added a little one too.
Yeah,
or something.
I mean, I liked the show.
I did too.
I
enjoyed it.
I mean,
it had good music.
Yeah, I mean they talk a lot, but that's
dancing.
Fine.
Yeah, they kind of make a joke about that they talk a lot.
They do. Yeah.
That was one thing I remember from the open rehearsal, though, that I thought it kind of moved very fast. It was kind of a little like dialogue heavy, and and when it first started, I would say like the first like 3 numbers maybe, I was kind of like oh my god, and like I kind of was like, oh, it's going kind of fast, but then I feel like it plateaued out and it had a an easier flow like after that moment. I don't know how you felt about that, but
yeah, that's fine. I mean,
interesting. Yeah, okay. Krista Rodriguez, man, she was in the TV show The Open Rehearsal, and she made it to Broadway, so good for her.
Yeah.
good for Marie. Good for Marie. Krista's role on the TV show was different from her role in the musical, however. So
Krista didn't work on Smash. She worked on
the this other show that was open.
Damn, what was the other show?
Hit List.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hit List. Her character's a lot different. I guess she has more of the Deborah Messing character, and also in the show they were not married; they were friends. Because obviously, Christian Bale's character was gay on the show, and in the musical they're married, like writing duo couple.
Yeah.
And he was played by Alex Brightman in The Open Rehearsal, but now Jerry's played by John Bellman. Bellman?
Bellman, probably.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good time at Smash.
I really did too. I enjoyed myself. I liked the dancing. I liked the music. Like, Smash was great music. And the acting was fine. It was, like, I was laughing at times. So, like, I feel like
they made schmackery jokes.
They made schmackery jokes.
They made something else jokes.
I don't know. I had a coworker who told me that Smash was like bombing, which I had a hard time.
The theater's full.
It was full.
I think it's a good show to see if you want to see a show.
Yeah, like I could recommend.
This is a good one for tourists, I would say, to see, because everyone.
Like visually, I love like the transitions, like the dance. Like I don't know how to like say that. Like it had. Like I was in my head, Boop and although maybe Smash had maybe a more like heavy, like meatier plot to me than Boop did. I feel like Boop's plot was a smidgen confusing. I don't know if we talked about it.
Boop's plot is more of the story, it's the message.
Right.
Boop is all about the message, and Smash is just all about just being funny. I would say.
Not just being funny.
Like at the end of the day.
I know what you mean.
And then they just kind of pull it all together at the end. Like, we did this the wrong way. How about we write this one, and then their show goes on to be like their producers.
Right.
Like,
so, like if we knew that, we could have did it in the song. Right.
Yeah.
Like
that's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
We're one of a kind. They really do have a 6 moment at the end. A category. And everyone kind of like locks in and put on the best show that they can with what they have and what they've learned. And yeah, they really Ivy really had a redemption arc on this one when they made it to Broadway.
Yeah,
it was not. She did not have one in the show. Also, it was like really funny because they use like what they call a scrim, and like social media plays like an aspect, not like a major aspect, but it is a point in the show. And I was kind of like, oh, kind of like Boop a little bit, like in my head, because we were there recently, and it stuck in my mind. But when we were at the open rehearsal, obviously they didn't have any of that, so it was just it was audio, I believe. And Susan was like, you got to imagine that there's a scrim. And we were like, okay, we're here for it. And then it was like, to see it happening, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, bravo to Smash. I mean, I can't hate on. I can't hate on Smash. It's hard to find something not to like about it.
The music is great, personally.
Yeah.
And not just like, oh, one song. Like every song.
Right.
So, excuse me.
'Cause I wanna be a
Yvette Nicole Brown was
yeah, I wanna be a Smash. And this has a cool playbill. Did you see it? Are we just not showing the playbill?
Yeah, and they have the window card, and they also have the bombshell art as a
which
window card.
Whenever I wanted to get the bombshell. Yeah. I was like, Joe, I think we got to get 2 posters, and then I was kind of like, that's kind of like overkill, because if you guys need to understand the backlog
of window cards.
Of window cards that we have. Like, I cannot keep up with the framing demand. Like, we cannot keep up with the framing demands. And we were like, but honestly, I feel like, now I just feel like I need it anyway, because I think it's a good idea. It's for the show within the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my head, I'm like, I should have just did it.
Same with, we didn't get a t-shirt either, and now I'm like, we should have just got one.
And it's a baseball tee. I love a baseball tee.
Yeah.
But, so, I was about to say, so we got a playbill. Everybody gets a playbill. We got a magnet.
They have 2 magnets.
Yeah, it's like a marquee sign. But, they had 2 versions of the magnet. One looks like the playbill, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this one, but I like this one. I like a little bit of a different magnet. And then we got, sorry, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a stunning window card too, so I can't even be upset that I have it. But the bombshell one is really, it's Marilyn's, like,
yeah, and they actually have it as a backdrop.
Yeah.
At the end of intermission.
Yeah. You can see it. Can you see it?
In our curtain call video.
You can, is it there?
I think so.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Before they bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah. Smash? Can we call Smash a smash? I mean, for us personally, I think I would go back and see it. Like, I'm thinking of other shows, like, the coworker that told me that Smash was, like, bombing really like Redwood, and I just feel like we had to put somebody who's bombing. Like, no hate for Redwood. I don't have hate for Redwood at all. I didn't enjoy myself really at the show, but no hate for it. If it didn't have Idina Menzel, I'm not sure Redwood would be open right now.
Mm-mm. I'd go back to see Harmony before Redwood, and they're both equally depressing.
I didn't find Redwood depressing. I just found myself not really invested in her journey.
Yeah.
In her journey, I didn't find it depressing. It was obvious that she was sad, slightly losing her mind,
Mm-hmm.
but like I wasn't really like invested into the why or her as a person or. Anyway, this is not about Redwood. But thank you for watching. Go see Smash. Bye.
Bye.